Welcome back, my dear friends. Welcome to my channel. As we have discussed about the anastomosis around the scapula in our previous class, and in today's class we are going to discuss about anastomosis around elbow joint. So it is a bit complicated when you just go through some books. There are many branches they used to give. They were giving that. So you have no need to confuse, no need to worry about them, no need to panic. So I am just write on this, draw the diagram here on the board. So you can just follow this and it will be very easy. So anastomosis around the elbow joint we are going to see. Yes. So what is the anastomosis around the elbow joint? Now you need to understand that lower end of the humerus, it is having medial epicondyle, lateral epicondyle, medial epicondyle and lateral epicondyle. So anastomosis is going to form in front of medial epicondyle, behind the medial epicondyle, in front of lateral epicondyle, behind the lateral epicondyle. Now, which vessels are going to anastomose with each other in this surrounding the elbow joint, around the elbow joint, or the brachial artery which is running medial to this, brachial artery which is running medial, and then it is extending into the elbow joint, and then reaches to the cubital fossa, and at the neck of the radius it is going to bifurcate. It is going to bifurcate into ulnar artery medially, radial artery laterally. So this brachial artery branches, they are going to anastomose with another vessel. So that branch is called as the profunda brachii artery, which is the first branch of the brachial artery. The profunda brachii artery, which is a branch of brachial artery, and it disappears in the axilla, lower part of the axilla, and enters into the posterior surface of shaft of humerus. It is running along with the radial nerve in the lower triangular space, and then it is extending down and laterally, and the branches of the profunda brachii artery, they are going to anastomose. They are going to anastomose with the brachial artery branches. Okay, they are going to anastomose with the brachial artery branches, and also they are going to anastomose with the radial artery branches. So that's I am going to show now. So here, this is the, I am going to draw the humerus. This is the humerus, lower end of the humerus, and this is the shaft, lower part of the shaft, and this is lateral epicondyle. So how to draw the lateral epicondyle? We can identify the capitula, and medially we can see the pulley shaped projection called as trochlea. Okay, this is the trochlea. Okay, so this is about this is the medial epicondyle, and this is lateral epicondyle. So above the capitulum we can identify the depression. Above the trochlea we can identify the depression. This is the radial fossa, and this is coronoid fossa. Now, here you can identify the radius bone, and here we're having the ulna, the hook, which is going to fix to the trochlea. Yes. So these are the questions actually they asked in the examination. Where does the brachial artery is going to bifurcate? That the question usually asked in the viva. So you need to remember all these viva questions as well. So let me explain about this brachial artery. So first, brachial artery which is running medially, then it is close contact with the humerus. So here I am drawing the brachial artery. Then after that it is entering into this cubital fossa, and this brachial artery which is going to bifurcate into radial and ulnar artery. So here it is going to bifurcate into radial artery and then ulnar artery. So this is about the bifurcation of brachial artery. I'm going to draw a little clearly, so you don't need to panic. You just observe the diagram and try to follow it. So this is your brachial artery, and this is the bifurcation. Now, what are the branches are coming from it? So I will show that. Yes. So from the brachial artery, there is one branch which is coming, that is called as superior collateral artery, superior ulnar collateral artery. You can write down these names of the branches. So this branch is superior ulnar collateral, superior ulnar collateral artery. So this superior ulnar collateral artery, where it is going is, it is running medially. It is running medially, as you all know that. So from the medial epicondyle, there is a septum which is present, which is attaching to the medial supracondylar ridge. That septum, which is called as medial intermuscular septa, which is separating the flexor compartment of arm and extensor compartment of arm posteriorly. So as you all know that flexor compartment of arm, which is present anterior, extensor compartment of the arm, which is present posterior. So these two compartments are separated by this septa called as medial intermuscular septa. So it is piercing that. So superior ulnar collateral artery, which is piercing the medial intermuscular septa. So you don't need to confuse again. So this is the medial aspect and this is the lateral aspect, and this is superior and this is inferior. So here you can see the medial intermuscular septa is present, and this superior ulnar collateral, which is piercing that and enters behind. So along with the ulnar nerve, which is running, and it is running behind the medial epicondyle. And this artery, which is going to anastomose with ulnar recurrent artery. So which recurrent artery is posterior ulnar recurrent artery. So from where does this artery is coming? From this ulnar artery. So as you know that this is ulnar and this is radius, this is ulnar artery. You try to label them so that you may not get confused. So this is ulnar artery and this is your radial artery. Okay, so now coming to this ulnar artery, it is giving a branch. That branch is called as posterior ulnar recurrent artery. So this posterior ulnar recurrent artery, which is running behind the medial epicondyle, this artery is going to anastomose with this superior ulnar collateral artery. So this is how these two arteries are getting anastomosed with each other. So this is one anastomosis. Then another anastomosis I will tell you. So another artery which is coming from the brachial artery, that is called as inferior ulnar collateral artery. This is inferior ulnar collateral, and this inferior ulnar collateral artery, which is running in front of the medial epicondyle. So this inferior ulnar collateral artery, which is running below and then it is running in front of medial epicondyle. One branch of it which is piercing the medial intermuscular septa, that's also going posteriorly. So I will try to draw here so that you may not get confused again. So this is I am just drawing the medial aspect. When you observe the lower end of the medial aspect of humerus, how we can see that. So this is your trochlea and this is the medial epicondyle. Okay, so how the artery is running. So the artery almost over here, and this artery which is running down, this is your posterior branch. This is the anterior branch and this is the posterior branch. So the posterior branch of inferior ulnar collateral artery, again it is going to divide into two branches. So one is transverse branch, another branch which is going to anastomose with this superior ulnar collateral artery. So this is how the anastomosis is going to form between superior ulnar collateral artery and the inferior ulnar collateral artery branch, and superior ulnar collateral, and it is going to anastomose with this posterior ulnar recurrent artery. This is your posterior ulnar recurrent. So the recurrent branches which are coming from the ulnar artery and also the radial artery. So the brachial artery branches are collateral arteries. From the radial and ulnar arteries, recurrent branches. Very good. So ulnar artery, which is giving a branch called as posterior ulnar recurrent, which is going to anastomose behind the medial epicondyle with the superior ulnar collateral. Then what about this inferior ulnar collateral, which is running in front of the medial epicondyle? Another artery which is coming from this ulnar artery, that is called as anterior ulnar recurrent. Anterior ulnar recurrent, that is going to anastomose in front of the medial epicondyle, and it is anastomosing with this anterior ulnar recurrent. Okay, so anterior ulnar recurrent is anastomosing with the inferior ulnar collateral artery. So try to write down the parts. This is your inferior ulnar collateral, and it is anastomosing with this anterior ulnar recurrent. Anterior ulnar recurrent. Okay, so this is how the anastomosis is going to form. Then what about this transverse branch of this inferior ulnar collateral? That I will explain. In the next part I will explain. So the medial epicondyle we have finished. So in front of the medial epicondyle, behind the medial epicondyle. So here I can see that in front of the medial epicondyle, as I told you earlier, so the inferior ulnar collateral, it is going to anastomose with anterior ulnar recurrent artery. Behind the medial epicondyle, superior collateral artery, which is going to anastomose with posterior ulnar collateral artery, posterior ulnar recurrent artery. That is about the anastomosis around the elbow joint towards medially. Now I am going to show what is going to happen behind the lateral epicondyle and anterior or in front of the lateral epicondyle, that we will see. Okay. Now we are going to see the anastomosis around the elbow joint in front of lateral epicondyle, behind the lateral epicondyle. So we have seen the anastomosis around elbow joint, in front of medial epicondyle, behind the medial epicondyle. So this branch, what is going to happen to this branch, that we will discuss now. Okay, no need to panic. Now coming to this again, once again I am drawing this. So the lateral epicondyle. This is your shaft of humerus, the lateral epicondyle. Here you can see the capitulum, and this is your trochlea. This is the trochlea. Yes. Now, the arteries which are going to anastomose here. So already have drawn the brachial artery, and anastom where the brachial artery is going to bifurcate at the neck of the radius. So I am not going to draw the neck of the radius once again, so that it will be overcrowding and make you confused again. So just I am drawing the bifurcation of the brachial artery in the cubital fossa. The neck of the radius is going to bifurcate into radial artery laterally, ulnar artery medially. So this part we have seen, and now what is going to happen to this part, that now we will discuss now. So already I told you earlier, the profunda brachii artery which is running at the posterior surface of shaft of humerus. Very good. So that profunda brachii artery which is giving branches. So what are the branches coming from this profunda brachii artery? So it is almost present around here like this. So I will just go for this dotted line so that you will understand that it is running behind. Otherwise you may get confused and try to search at the anterior surface. So understand this is running behind the humerus at the posterior surface of shaft of humerus. So this profunda brachii artery, it is giving branches called as, one is middle collateral artery. This is called as, this is your middle collateral artery. So this middle collateral artery which is descending down, and this middle collateral artery which is running towards medially. So behind the humerus, meaning at the posterior surface of a lower end of the humerus, where we can identify a big depression. That depression is called as olecranon fossa. Olecranon fossa. Over the olecranon fossa, so this middle collateral artery which is running down, and this middle collateral artery which is going to anastomose with this transverse branch. So here I have drawn, this is the brachial artery, this is your brachial, and this is your inferior ulnar collateral, superior ulnar collateral. So as I told you earlier, it is having two branches, anterior and the posterior. This posterior again is having transverse branch, and another branch which is going to anastomose with this superior ulnar collateral. Now, I hope you got it now. Okay, so this transverse branch which is running behind, and this transverse branch of inferior ulnar collateral which is anastomosing with this middle collateral artery. So that is going to happen. Then what about the other branch which is coming from the profunda brachii, that is called as radial collateral artery. So radial collateral artery. So this radial collateral artery, what is going to happen to this radial collateral artery is that radial collateral artery which is running in front of the lateral epicondyle. So this radial collateral artery which is running in front of the lateral epicondyle, and this is going to anastomose with this radial artery through radial recurrent artery. So which is running anterior to the lateral epicondyle. See, this is how these arteries are going to anastomose. Okay, so in front of the lateral epicondyle, radial recurrent artery and radial collateral artery. This is your radial collateral artery, and this is your radial recurrent artery. Radial recurrent artery. So this is the anastomosis going to happen in front of lateral epicondyle, and this middle collateral artery which is running below downwards and at the posterior surface of the lower end of the humerus, and over the olecranon fossa, that it is going to run medially, and it is going to anastomose with this transverse branch of inferior ulnar collateral artery. Inferior ulnar collateral artery. That is about the anastomosis around this elbow joint. Another artery is there. You don't need to worry, you don't need to panic. That artery is called as descending branch of this profunda brachii. It is also running behind the lateral epicondyle. So this is an artery dotted line I am using to make you clear. And this descending branch of this profunda brachii, what is going to happen is this is running behind the lateral epicondyle, and this is anastomosing with interosseous recurrent artery. What is the interosseous recurrent artery? I will tell you. So this is visual. What is this? This is your ulnar artery, and this is your ulnar artery, and it is giving branches to common interosseous artery. So this common interosseous artery again is going to divide into two branches. So no confusion. This is your ulnar artery, and this is your common interosseous. Is it clear? Common interosseous artery. So this common interosseous artery, again it is going to bifurcate or divide into two branches. What are the two branches? Anterior interosseous artery and posterior interosseous artery. This is your anterior interosseous artery, and this is your posterior interosseous artery. So that from the posterior interosseous artery, there is an artery which is extending, that is called as interosseous recurrent artery. Try to see here. This is your interosseous recurrent. Interosseous recurrent artery. This interosseous recurrent artery, what is going to happen to this interosseous recurrent artery is, it is running behind the lateral epicondyle. And it is going to anastomose with this descending branch of profunda brachii artery. So here I have used the dotted line. I will just label it as the descending branch of profunda brachii. Descending branch of profunda brachii. And here are the dotted line I have used to show you this is your middle collateral artery. So this is about the anastomosis around elbow joint. We will have a quick review so that there will be no confusion. So in front of lateral epicondyle, behind the lateral epicondyle. So in front of lateral epicondyle, what is going to happen is, so this is the branch called as radial collateral artery, which is a branch of profunda brachii, that is going to anastomose, and it is running anterior to the lateral epicondyle. It is anastomosing with the radial recurrent artery. Then other branches of the profunda brachii are, another one is descending branch of profunda brachii. So I will write it so that you may not get confused again. This is your profunda brachii. So from the profunda brachii, one artery we have seen, that is radial collateral artery. Another branch we have seen, that is descending branch of profunda brachii, that it is running posteriorly and it is anastomosing with the interosseous recurrent artery. So where? Behind the lateral epicondyle. Another artery is middle collateral artery. This middle collateral artery, which is running behind the posterior surface of shaft of humerus, and it is running down and reaches to the depression called as, here also another depression I am just drawing to make you clear, that is olecranon fossa. Dotted line I have used so that it is present behind the posterior surface of lower end of humerus. So at the olecranon fossa, over the olecranon fossa, or near the olecranon fossa, it is running towards medially, and this middle collateral artery, which is going to anastomose with the transverse branch of your inferior ulnar collateral artery. This is your superior ulnar collateral. Okay, so that is about the anastomosis around elbow joint. So any artery got one artery got blocked, but still the muscles they receives a rich blood supply because of this collateral circulation. So if the flexed elbow, so if you flex the elbow for a long time, it compresses all the vessels. So that is why you may not receive a rich blood supply in the flexed elbow. So if the elbow is flexed for a long time, it may not receive the more blood. So that is about the anastomosis around the elbow joint. So again, once again, we'll come to your presence with a new class. Thank you, dear students. See you soon.